Joining me now from here in Washington, D.C. is Elaine Clift. She's a political columnist with the Daily Beast. So, Eleanor, we've seen this round robin from all the states so far. What is your sense on where things stand right now? This process has been very deliberate.
Well, the Biden campaign has announced that he plans to address the nation this evening. So I think the assumption is that Pennsylvania is going to certify for the election for the former Vice President Joe Biden later this afternoon. I say that, always have to add a caveat because this has been such a wild ride these last few days. But the fact that Mr. Biden has said he's going to speak to the country suggests that victory is at hand.
And in prime time. However, we do see the Trump administration calling for transparency, for every vote to be counted. He also has been tweeting a lot about his fight ahead, and we saw 2 official statements released from the White House in just the past 4 hours. At what point, though, will Trump exhaust his legal challenges?
Oh, he hasn't. Tweeting and rhetoric are not really legitimate legal challenges. They have filed a number of lawsuits. So far, the only one that's been resolved in their favor was moving some Republican observers closer to a polling place where the votes were being counted. They haven't won any significant legal battles, and there's no indication that there's any fraud. And you have Republican governors who are allied with the president, and in Georgia, in Florida, in Arizona, and they're all saying that the vote counting is proceeding unimpeded, and this is how it works.
Do you think we'll see him concede?
We may never see him concede. But that's his choice. If he doesn't concede, doesn't mean that he gets to stay in the White House. He's thinking about his political life after his presidential term, and he seems to want to continue to be on the scene as a very live political contender. He's even floating the idea of running again in 2024. I don't know how real that is, but he can raise money on that. There's some talk that he'll continue having rallies. So he did not get repudiated in this election. I mean, Joe Biden has handily won more votes than any other contender in history, but President Trump is second. And so the thought that he would be repudiated and he would be a spent force after this election, that hasn't happened. He's got considerable clout among the people who follow him. He's got 88 million Twitter followers. And so I think there's some genuine alarm in this country, frankly, as to how he's going to use his political power and how he's going to incite people to behave.
We have about a minute left, Eleanor. What measures are in place if Donald Trump refuses to leave the White House? I mean, how could we see that play out?
I don't see him staying in the White House if he's been certified as losing the election. There's the Secret Service. The military is not going to stage a coup on his behalf. And I think at some point over the next several days, if his legal challenges do prove baseless, as I think they will, you may begin to see some senior Republican officials, stepping up and basically telling him to stop it, because at some point he's going to damage the Republican brand, and he's damaging our democracy as we speak. Because one of the virtues of American democracy is we have a peaceful transition of power. And his resistance to that central core of American democracy and his continuing to undermine vote counting, which is going on perfectly legally. There are just a lot of ballots because of the pandemic, and people didn't want to come out and vote in person. There's nothing unlawful going on. And so by his continuing to say that, and he has so many followers who believe everything he says, really it's poison in our democracy, frankly. It's poisonous.